course of the tournament in that top side. So now that that's taken away, I'll be very curious to see what their new plans are going in towards that top side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so far he's played, the Rumble, which is gone, the Scion, which I think is going to remain banned, and then it's been, Renekton and Rek'Sai, right? So I do think we're probably going to get something pretty standard from him. It'll be interesting to see if he wants to kind of, go outside of that and get a bit more creative. I feel like if they wanted him to get funky, though, they would have gone red side, right? Yeah. So I think that we are just going to get more standard stuff. Ori and Azir both up here, so either we're going to get a trade or we're going to have them potentially getting banned outright here. And we'll see, that's going to be the kind of key to me, because that really does dictate the first couple picks. And instead, it's going to be Mbessa.
Oh, Scion is also up. So if you ban away the Scion, then you then look towards the Ori Azir trade for CFO.
I just kind of saw that as like a guarantee. Yeah. Because to me, that it's like, if you don't ban Scion here, then CFO just went out, because you just pair Ori or Azir with the Scion and you're laughing.
Yeah, because you also got the opportunity to take the Trundle though as well. So what I'm kind of curious is, do you end up like first picking Trundle, thinking, oh, we deny the Scion on the opposite side. We're happy to take either the Ori or the Azir in the next one, but there's the Scion, so it doesn't really matter. I think still, Azir for me has been the more impactful one in a lot of these situations, but we'll have to see if that's what CFO were thinking as well, and it looks like they will be.
Let's see that Azir likely locked in for HongQ. Let's see, he has put it out already once this tournament. KT, you just go Orianna plus something from the jungle that can engage. Jarvan, something that, although it started the tournament really poorly, has begun to win quite a few of his games. I think he was on a 6-game winning spree going into the quarterfinals. So there's the Azir. KT can also leave the Orianna for 3.
Dive-orientated pick. And again, I think deokdam trying to take something like the Kai'Sa here to facilitate a lot of that dive is going to work out really well for KT.
I also just really love KT making sure BDD and Cuzz have good champions, because so often they are the drivers of this team. They are the engine room of this team, and everyone else has stepped up. But when you're looking at CFO, you look at HongQ and JunJia in the sort of same vein. They're the people that need to get ahead for CFO to have a huge amount of impact. So if you can get Cuzz and BDD on picks that are strong, that have good early games, you can kind of negate some of CFO's power.
This is kind of interesting. So they are going to go for the Trundle. Obviously, you can do it pretty well, against this Jarvan. So they're taking the Trundle and the Cassante here.
It feels like a Rek'Sai angle, no?
Yeah, I guess maybe that's kind of the anticipation, is they're saying you're going to go Rek'Sai and Trundle's going to get value because you are kind of having an HP stacker on the top side.
I think it also pinches what KT can do here, because ideally you would like to go for some sort of AD carry like the Kai'Sa, right? But with Ezreal, Corki, now you're going to see probably things like the Caitlyn and the Kai'Sa band, maybe even something like the Xayah. It just means that then you don't really have that safe backline at the moment. That could open up for things like the Cassante to get a lot of value, Trundle Pillars to get a value, even the Azir Shuffle to get a lot of value. So I think that's where CFO are looking at going, okay, what's the AD carry pool going to look like with these bands?
Yeah, and I do feel like when you're banning out the Bard, you are saying, hey, I want to play like a low mobility AD carry, over on this side. Ori's also something that can be quite susceptible to that Bard, so are trying to protect some of these carries. And Nico will remain on the bans in this second round. And they're going to be targeting Doggo's Draven, which I do think makes sense. To me, the Corki and the Draven were the 2 picks that really have stood out for him so far here at Worlds. So they are going to try to eliminate his carry threat a little bit.
And Nico taken away by CFO, so they're trying to get rid of some of those big AoE engages to follow up with the Orianna and the Jarvan.
I am slightly surprised, because I think when you have Azir, Alistar still up on the board as well, I think you've got options to try and play in towards the Nico without her having like that full big threat. But obviously just nervous about it. There's the Varus gone as well. So Kai'Sa is still up and available if you want to try and play for this very high dive threat on KT side.
Also, honestly, like you saw what Peter could do on a Braum as an engaged champion. Getting rid of something that engages a lot easier makes a lot of sense to me.
I actually like this a lot, just going Sivir here, because I feel like if you go Kai'Sa for deokdam, then you really open up a ton of value for picks like Renata and some of these kind of like disengage style champs that can be really, really strong. You can kind of just play to focus on the solo lanes here as Cuzz. Obviously, great pairings with both Renekton and the Ori. And if they go Aphelios, like we could just get Aphelios Lulu and they could go kind of like a full scaling type thing if they wanted. But of course, you can just do a standard engage pairing alongside it as well.
It is Doggo's most played champion and the champion he made his name on in Beyond Gaming, but it's actually going to be the Kai'Sa that he swaps over to at the last second.
A little bit of dive can reposition in team fights as well, which is something Kai'Sa does well. If the Jarvan jumps on you, you get some of that plasma stacks, and then you can dive across with the Killer Instinct.
And people always like to talk about this matchup as like, Kai'Sa can beat the Sivir on the 1v1, but I always kind of feel like Sivir just negates the matchup by just pushing in and
She
just
never takes the
scaling.
fight.
Exactly. So that's kind of my issue with it. And now when I look at this, I see a lot of value for the kind of picks that I was talking about over on the KT side, right? Like, I feel like Renata and Disengage would go super hard, and you already have good engage.
Lulu also sick here.
Lulu,
Honestly,
Renata,
Lulu,
any of
Sivir,
that.
really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of the Kai'Sa because when you try to reposition as well in this sort of situation, you're repositioning into something like the Renekton or into the Jarvan, and the immediate shield break as well on the Renekton means I don't think you're going to get a huge amount of value from the Killer Instinct on the Kai'Sa. I would have probably preferred a bit more of a front-to-back team fighter than this Kai'Sa, but Nautilus actually going to be the pick in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of more standard. That is kind of the LCK style, even if some of these enchanters, are strong in certain situations. This does give them so much engage, so much scaling. It just feels like KT have drafted pretty much 4-5v5. They have a ton of wave clear in their solo lanes. They have a lot of options on where to go. Cuzz can really attack any lane, it does feel like. And over on the other side for CFO, you do have some great scaling here with the Azir, but I'm a bit worried about how they're going to be able to actually play out these 5v5s. Like, if you don't have a perfect engage, I do think it gets very, very difficult for Doggo to have a lot of value while he is kind of getting zoned out. Whereas on the other side, Sivir just needs to hit anyone and kind of just ricochet through the team.
And also you have a relatively short-range composition apart from the Azir, so the Orianna value for the shockwaves kind of at an all-time high. So I really do like what KT have opted in for here, and it is going to be looking at what can CFO do to disrupt it, particularly in this early game where they struggled in game one to find any sort of answer.
We've already seen a 3,000 elo shockwave from BDD at this tournament against MKOI on the first day, where they were about 4k behind and he turned it on its head. KT then going undefeated so far through all 5 games they've played. 5 in a row.
I'm going to have to win World Finals, quick.
More than that.
Okay. You passed. You passed, see?
It's 13, right?
At least 6.
13, yeah. 13
At
in
least
a row.
6, I'm with you.
We'll see if they can do it as we get our way onto the stage for game 2. It would be really interesting for KT to go, see, quickly as Cuzz steps around here, for KT to go 3-0 versus Genji, 0-3, 0-3, 13-0. That's just what a great end to your year.
Powering up.
Is that not who KT are as a being, as a whole?
The roller coaster at some point can't keep ratcheting up. There has to be a drop.
It depends how you want the roller coaster to end.
In heaven.
In
the
outer
destined
space.
paradise.
It's just going to launch off, you know?
True.
Then there's no gravity. Then the roller coaster can do whatever it wants.
Oh, great hook from Peter as he finds JunJia, forces him to flash away. And that negates a lot of what JunJia wants to do in the early game. This Trundle really relies on getting into the enemy's face. And against the Jarvan, he can do that because he farms so much faster.
And also just counter ganking is so effective when the Jarvan uses that EQ in, then you can try and turn around as the Trundle, but you're going to be able to get value as that as Cuzz and have a flash to try and escape. So it does open up Cuzz, at least for the next 5 minutes, to try and make some early plays. But realistically, we have seen junglers just going for these full clears consistently. So how much KT are going to be able to find success in the lanes in the early stages still waits to be seen.
And you got to take your eyes up towards that top lane, as it is going to be a lane swap up here. It is going to be Doggo moving up towards that top side to take the 1v1 against this Renekton. So it will be Rest on the Cassante, taking the 2v2 down on the bot side with Kaiwing. And the question is just kind of how much of the CS can they get? Can they keep their health high to really be able to get as much of this farm as possible?
Also just get as much experience as possible onto that Cassante. Not very easy to force him away in the early game as HongQ and BDG just trading here in the mid lane. Perfect. You should be okay on the Renekton. You've got the Cold and Meek to heal yourself up a little bit. You've got the Slice and Dice hits level 2. There's always the threat of a Slice Ruthless Predator Jarvan gank.
Yeah, there really is, and I do think, BDD in trouble.
Falling low to HongQ here. We'll just walk around the corner. Can't be sure where Cuzz is right now as HongQ, so you have to just be that little bit more cautious, especially with Peter walking his way up.
He's on the way. Can HongQ avoid this? Peter, well, does he just want to invest the flash? BDD's so
Peter's
low!
just gonna look for the flash hook underneath the tower, but it's not gonna be enough damage from HongQ. Still able to flash away. Summoners exchanged between the Nort and the Azir.
Nice roam from Peter.
He uses the heal for him as well. Now BDD's gonna flash just to kill Kaiwing. Flash heal wasn't enough. That's really well done from KT. HongQ perhaps a little greedy staying around.
They thought they'd be able to make the play with Kaiwing matching the roam, but a little bit too late. And BDD with the first blood.
Yeah, I want to see, did Kaiwing's heal actually hit on HongQ, or was it just a little bit too late?
Yeah, too late.
I thought it was too late watching it live there, which is definitely tough. Peter already having a big impact, forcing out the flash on the Trundle very early, and now Kaiwing trying to do what he can, hold this wave, so HongQ cannot get too far behind.
Oh, Cuzz flash. Oh, flag and drag from Cuzz just wide. A hook lands onto a minion, and Peter unable to find his connection there.
And HongQ held onto his TP because Kaiwing was freezing the wave. He didn't actually have to TP back, so that is nice for him. But look over on the other side. It's upgraded tier 2 boots. HongQ just got a dagger and no pots. So even just that little bit of damage is that much closer to sending him back to base once again. This pressure that Peter put on is so effective.
Now Rest with the wave pushing away from him, getting forced out of this bot lane. A couple of minions will die to the tower, but KT should be able to catch them. Pillar down, slice away from Perfect. Easy enough escape for the Croc.
It was always going to be a tough work to try and make that happen on the top side. So either way, though, as you say, KT in a great spot. Now Rest.
Got the Pathmaker, should be able to get his way out. But I think this is the game that we really begin to see BDD living up to that idol status he talked about in the teaser for the video.
I mean, that's tough. You know, thankfully, like I said, he was able to hold on to TP because Kaiwing froze, so he's going to go back, but his buy is going to be terrible, right? Like, maybe he's just going to get a refillable in a ward or something. I don't think he's going to have too much gold. So he's going to be able to upgrade the dagger, but does he even have potions on top? Is he really going back with no potions again? Yeah, okay.
Just gets himself a recurve boat.
And BDD should be able to match the reset here as well, with it being a cannon wave. HongQ trying to freeze because damn sure he doesn't want that to happen.
You can't do that. Like, you can't just be tanking the minions.
The wave is so far away as well. Even the shield from the Azir E isn't going to be enough, and the wave will crash in. BDD on his way back out with an amplifying tome alongside those Ionian boots of lucidity for the extra CDR. And right now, KT's early game, this series actually has really leveled up from where it's been so far. Peter, Hex splashing onto Rest, looking for the auto attack here. We'll get the dredge line in as the Pathmaker out from Rest again gets him to safety. Really nice buffer there. You buffer the auto and then you dredge line in the middle of it to cancel the animation.
But you're just going to continue to get this wave frozen on you, so Rest's going to have to reset, and I think at this stage, CFO have to accept they're going to match towards standard lanes if they hope to have a chance, because this Croc in the top side has frozen the wave, now gets the TP back in, and KT again dominating through this lane phase.
Exactly. I mean, it's double frozen waves. Both your side lanes are frozen against you. You have to TP just to try to push it out, and your mid lane is kind of getting crushed right now after that early pressure, so it's triple losing lanes for CFO.
I usually like my oysters on ice, but this is not what I like for CFO right now. KT off to a strong early start here in Game 2.
And it's a bit of the flash freeze as well, because JunJia, having burnt that flash earlier, means that he's not really able to get involved in the lanes for fear that Cuzz ends up matching. So across the board, again, KT doing so well off that early pressure, and now you start to look at, well, Dragon's up and available. We start to look at the rotations.
Good hook onto Doggo. Grand entrance coming out from Kaiwing. Battle Dance for a little bit of shielding. It's if you want to get the drop on your opponents like Peter just got the drop on CFO, remember, log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, and capsules whenever you can.
Cuzz looking to style on CFO on this bottom side here, already forcing CFO back. TP coming through from Peter to make sure he can get down here. And I think they just go for the Dragon. They've got the push in that bottom lane. BDD in a great spot in mid. They don't need much more.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking like they're in an incredible spot. Judge is moving down to this side of the map. I don't think it's going to be a contest. He's just going to have to probably give it up. He's moving over there, though. I feel like this would be such a tough approach for the Trundle. I mean, Peter's already in position to try to jump on him.
Deokdam just hit 6 as well. Dredge line in from Peter. JunJia here, looking to see if he can find a pillar, but you don't really want to take this fight. You're at a disadvantage in terms of ultimates, and KT will just secure their first Drake again, around that 7-minute mark. It's really early from there.
And that's what I was going to say, is you're kind of happy if you're a CFO that you didn't end up giving a bunch of kills away like you did in game number 1. So CFO able to back away, hoping that they can find those fights later on. And you do have things like the Azir and the Kazante, which will scale very well into the game. But at the moment, they just don't have ways to break this control KT have.
I think Peter has just played an excellent game, right? He's starting right from the level 1. Even his positioning here around that Dragon, playing in the banana brush, not allowing JunJia to ever find an opportunity to contest here realistically, and just going to continue playing towards his strength. He knows you're going to win the 2v2s with BDD, so just keep moving here, keep enabling BDD to play from this position of power. Look at HongQ. He's just, every time he steps forward, it's command attack, it's dissonance, it's just chunk after chunk after chunk onto HongQ that is making his life miserable.
I think Peter's just had a really good series so far, really good world so far. You could see signs of it when he was on Nongshim, like there were signs of what he could become, but here on KT really has leveled up. Now in his first international, his first worlds, we're seeing exactly what this guy can do.
And what a lovable player he is. I mean, this is his first time, flying. If you haven't watched some of his interviews, do yourself a favor, go watch some. He is just a treat.
Great hook again onto JunJia. Is going to put the subjugate down, flash forward from Perfect. Death charge onto HongQ as well, but JunJia already put in the dirt. The Troll King is down. Rest trying to collapse, but CFO forced away. Should be 3 grubs to KT. No smite for CFO. Doggo's moving across, but actually looks like KT are happy enough just taking the 2. They'll let this grub reset. Cuzz can just wait around. It's like, okay, my smite's going to come back up in a couple of seconds' time. KT will get the 3rd.
Yeah, the longer CFO contest here, the more they're losing on that bottom side. That's a wave that's completely gone, and JunJia has just had 0 chance to have an impact in this game. He's been completely shut down by KT.
I mean, it's just a great start again to the fight here from KT. The CFO kind of tried to do this late contest. It's similar to the problems they had in the first game, where even when you have the man advantage, they're not actually utilizing it because JunJia goes so early. By the time Doggo is moving up, he's already cooked, and then you're just giving deokdam the ability to push out the wave, deny those minions, take a reset, right back down towards bot lane, and the Sivir is just chilling throughout all of this, and you still walked away with triple grubs.
Yeah, just overall, Casey's early game really isolating the strengths of CFO and making them into weaknesses. Like JunJia on this trundle is behind on farm to a Jarvan. That's just not something you too commonly see in the early game. They haven't been able to find pressure in the lanes. The early lane swap from KT really solid as they were able to make sure that Rest and Doggo were forced behind.
I mean, it's not even 10 minutes. We're 1.6k ahead. Yep. Everyone on KT has an advantage. We'll see if JunJia can try to make any sort of a gank happen. You just feel like you need to make some sort of a move, but I don't see a world in which Perfect dies here.
Dominus about to come off cooldown for that extra health on Topos. We'll get the knockback. JunJia looking for the flag and the pillar, in fact. He's not playing the Jarvan. He does get the pillar down with a slice and dice out from Perfect. Now has the Dominus in 1 second's time, and CFO won't look for a further dive.
I was going to say, there's a very slim window that they were looking to play on, and now Perfect is going to be completely fine. Resets, are going to be able to open up back on that top side, and you're not getting any sort of advantages through this. KT continue to move their Jarvan up towards this top side. They can now look to support Perfect as he shows this out. It's just great stuff.
And I mean, you know that that trundle is up on the top side, and just start looking at all the vision that they're getting, down in this bottom side area. There's so many wards that they're actually placing in the enemy jungle here. They have all the info, right? You knew that JunJia was up on the top side. You go in on the bot side, you place all these wards, you have full river control as well. When you're behind, you're saying, jungler, please save me, bail me out, get a kill. But like, they know where he is. They got map packs.
Really nicely played from KT in this early game. For CFO, you do still scale. You've got an Azir, you have a Rakan there for the engage. You've got Subjugate if anyone gets too tanky later on. There's the Emperor's Divide onto BDD, who will flash after the pillar. And that is a summoner down for the KT mid.
And something that could be exploitable. 45 seconds until the Dragon. You could end up looking for him, especially with someone like Kaiwing. But there we go!
Depth charge! They get the knock-up. The quickness comes out, but it's not in time. Peter claims the kill. Call him Captain Hook because he's sending HongQ to Neverland.
And he's always there first. Kaiwing that little bit too late in saving his mid laner. And it's Peter that are making things happen for KT.
I agree. I mean, he's just being so proactive here, and now you knock the mid laner down. Kaiwing spent his ult. Cuzz is behind Doggo.
Oh, Doggo, is your bark worse than your bite? It seems like it. Flashes away. Oh! Gets away with the killer instinct as well with the TP coming out. Doggo able to survive. KT, I mean, they back away. No one goes below half HP. They'll be happy enough. They get the flash and that killer instinct out.
Yeah, I mean, it's smooth moves from Doggo to survive in the 1v3, but at the end of the day, as you say, that's teleport, that's flash, that's ult, and your defensive highlight is just staying alive while KT is going to start the Dragon and say, good luck fighting us now. Your AD has nothing.
And plates in mid lane because you had to shift the Azir down to that bottom side, which means BDD is opening up this game even further in his favor with that first item already completed. It is still KT winning.
And it's feats. 12 minutes in, 3 objectives to none, 3 kills to none, and you've already got the upgraded boots coming out, the Ionian cooldown boots for BDD being upgraded. They're going to set up around this red buff. Do CFO
Don't do it,
know?
JunJia.
No.
Oh, JunJia. He starts up the red. There's the hook, and JunJia in the jungle, sent to an early grave. A fourth for KT, they ruled the Rift.
I mean, this is just the vision playing off of that. They have been controlling this jungle so incredibly well. And now that they have the lead, they're just snowballing it out of control.
They've got
Peter's
depth charge here.
Exactly, he's just going to go right down. He's going to get stopped. You just flag it.
Flag comes out. Peter will have another hook. He's just standing there. He's like, what are you going to do, HongQ? Depth charge down. They'll look for the engage. A Cataclysm alongside BDD. Enough. It's a shellacking for KT. They're shucking these oysters everywhere on the map.
I mean, it's picture perfect, but it's an ugly picture if you're a CFO fan because KT are making game 2 look like an absolute breeze, and it's all been around this play with BDD. Constantly going towards mid lane, getting involved with him, unlocking their player here to move around the map to really get control. BDD has been such a star for this team all year long.
Vest and Doggo looking for this flash away from perfect TP in from KT, and they just don't have the damage to work their way through that Renekton.
Great flash from Perfect, predicting that Rest was going to look for that Q slow, and maybe that gives the Kai'Sa enough time to get the auto attacks down to take down the Renekton. But again, it's CFO hoping and praying that they can make these plays work, but KT happy to match. You still get BDD pushing in that wave. No one going to be able to answer for it. You're losing out on the map. deokdam pushing in the mid lane. It's KT getting map presence constantly.
Exactly. And I mean, when you're playing against a team like this that has that much wave clear, that much pressure, and you're behind, you have to overload one side to try to make a play, but you're always going to pay for it, right? Because Sivir is just infinitely one-shotting the waves. With Essence Reaver, BDD is going to one-shot any waves that come his way, and they have triple grubs. So you lose so much tower damage every single time you have one of these failed plays. And I mean, they did get the flash out perfect. That's nice, but they didn't even force the ult.
But it's so well orchestrated by KT. It's knock out JunJia by kicking out one of the legs, then go for the lanes because JunJia's then behind. And it makes it so difficult for CFO to actually answer for any of these plays because they are always at a man disadvantage.
And who is it for KT that's getting fed out of this early game? It's BDD in that mid lane. 2K ahead has been involved in every single kill. The synergy between him and Peter through this game, through this Worlds, has been absolutely top notch. This guy is popping off, and for so long, I think people will have looked at BDD as one of the greats, but not quite. Perhaps at this Worlds, he can really take that step to the upper echelons.
Yeah, the only man on this team who's been to that semi-final, hoping to take the rest of them there, and the organization for the first time, but it's Rest who needs to get out of here.
Exhausted there for a second. Spell Shield coming out from deokdam, and Tofo Q3 going wide, but it's just going to be another tower for KT. They know they can force Rest away, take the turret, their second of the game, and CFO have been able to stop the perfect game from happening by taking a tower of their own. But apart from that, KT very much on their way to a clean sweep of this one.
Yeah, I mean, objective bounties have spawned. You kind of hope that you can do some cross-mapping, pick up some gold to come back in. But when objective bounties are spawning at 15 minutes, it is going to be an uphill battle, to say the very least.
Yeah, and you already highlighted the wave clear. It's a Rift Herald now as well. So you were already losing on the map. Now you doubly lose on the map, but Perfect might lose this.
Pillar coming out. There's a Killer Instinct as well with the quickness, everything invested. Perfect falls the shutdown to Doggo. A pick for CFO and a small breath of life into this game.
Imperfect. Not going to be able to get away with that one. We'll see what they can get off the back of it here. Heading down towards this bot side, seeing if they can make a play or at the very least control some vision. They have swept out all of the kind of vision past that line of scrimmage, in the mid lane and through that river. So there's no more vision in their jungle. They really are hoping to not give up a super early soul point. When you're this kind of a dive comp, yes, there is an Azir, yes, you have some damage there, but you really do not want to be giving over a Mountain Soul.
They did get the pick, but JunJia went to do his Krugs, and you don't really get that push in mid because both HongQ and Kaiwing went to try and set up that vision on the bottom side. So now it's KT who are able to answer back because of that reset.
It's the same setup again. Rest is on his way across on the hunt, popped by deokdam as they look for the chase. Depth charge onto HongQ, Emperor's Divide, dodged by the Cataclysm. HongQ not in the redemption in time. CFO lose their mid laner and now might lose the rest as they get chased down by KT. JunJia on the flank, a 4v4 begins to erupt. It's Perfect, not TPing down yet. The redemption for KT will top them up, and in the end, they just back away.
CFO are asking, why are KT better? And it's just Cuzz. The hop over the Emperor's Divide sets up beautifully. And now, with the dragon there for them as well, that's 3 dragons to their name.
I mean, that was beautiful from Cuzz. Walks in, and he's basically daring you to dash away, right? He's holding the Cataclysm, he's holding the Flag and Drag. He's ready to punish at a moment's notice. Perfect reaction time there to immune that Azir ultimate. They win out in the 4v4. Perfect doesn't have to even bother teleporting down. They get the dragon there at Soul Point, 18 minutes into the game. They have really accelerated the game to a ridiculous degree. When you look at a composition like this, that's Orianna Sivir, you're thinking, all right, they're going to play it slow, they're going to play it measured, but they've just been dominating. They realize their position in the game, so they're going to keep their foot on the gas and just continue to press.
Just keep that pressure up. CFO looking for those objective bounties you talked about as they're trying to find any gold they can on the map. Doggo is at 2 items for going the upgraded boots. Instead, it just has those slightly magical footwear. The only player with a gold lead for CFO. And if you're going to put a gold lead on anyone, Doggo, so far this tournament's been the guy you want to put it on. Constantly impressing, but it's going to be a very long road back for CFO in this game.
You hope that they can find those moments, though. Again, like, this is the heart and soul of a region, a team that has defied expectations and made a name for themselves. And although they haven't been able to show what they're capable of in this series thus far, I think CFO have really shown that they are a team that you need to keep your eyes on at Worlds 2025 and honestly at MSIs as well. Like, this is a roster that has continued to impress on an international stage.
Yeah, I mean, some of the teams that weren't giving them respect have already been sent home. Peter's looking for another play.
Depth charge down onto JunJia. The pillar does not really going to stop anyone getting in, but a good quickness out from Kaiwing distracts the rest of KT. Kaiwing trying to dash back, but he's taken out by deokdam. 1 down so far. KT can advance. Oh, a great hook again! Peter, what are you? He constantly finds the picks, and now CFO picked apart by this perfect Nautilus. Perfect diving in for a Ruthless Predator. The Rift Herald charge coming down. Will they look for a tier 3? Cuzz begins to disengage, but they'll just get the charge in, and then Peter should be able to dredge line his way away.
And they can even go right back to the Otacon that's about to spawn here if they really want to put that pressure on. They're going to take away the jungle camps. They get the charge on another tower. It's 6k up, and yeah, they're just going to do Otacon on spawn again, because why not? HongQ has no teleport, and he's still dead.
He goes for it again. Rest steps in front of the bullet for Doggo. The knock back onto Peter, though, now slammed into the wall, and the rest of KT unable to respond in time. Doggo diving onto the backline. Killer instinct flashes the barrier. Doggo gets the shutdown. Cuzz perfect, and BDD still alive. Not much mana on BDD, though. They'll still be able to kill off Kaiwing. HongQ and JunJia need to do it all. But HongQ doesn't have the damage. Only an Ashes and a faded Ashes at his back. KT back away.
Again, Doggo risked it all for CFO, but it falls short. KT are able to continue keeping that pressure up in the fight, and it's CFO who have to back away.
I mean, Doggo is able to find a pretty good play here. You know, again, your opportunities are going to be few and far between, and this hook gets blocked there by Rest, so they say, you know what, we have to try to take advantage of the moment. It's another shutdown, and then Doggo just goes so aggressive, flashing to the side there to try to avoid some of the damage from BDD. Does get a second shutdown for himself. But the problem is, BDD is 3,000 gold ahead, and he is still alive, still fighting there. So even with deokdam falling, I mean, just look at the mid-jungle advantage. It's ridiculous.
4.9k between the two. The Otacon has been begun by KT. CFO still looking for it. They have the Emperor's Divide if they can find a way into this fight, but HongQ goes in, BDD pops a stopwatch, Otacon secured, Kaiwing with a good quickness finds 2 with a knock-up, but CFO now need to disengage. All their engage tools have been used. Cuzz diving onto that backline. Cuzz taken out by Doggo. Perfect looking for it as well. But this dog who let him out, Perfect, shows him where the cage is at. Puts him back to the fountain. Only HongQ left alive. As Perfect, BDD, deokdam, and Peter collapsed. It's an ace for KT.
There's nowhere to run. There is nowhere to hide. KT are taking everything on this map. And CFO, they look confused. They look like they don't know how they're supposed to crack this.
I mean, I don't think you're cracking this game, man. It is an absolute stomp here as KT, again, know they're just at such an advantageous position. Perfect just goes straight in on the Nautilus. On the other side, you know, it's HongQ and Kaiwing trying to find this flanking angle, but they use the redemption for the reset and then just send Cuzz in. A great stun and bit of CC there to allow Doggo to finish him off, but Perfect is just too strong. No one's there to actually peel for Doggo. And again, there's just too many threats on the KT side. They're too rich.
Yeah, no killer instinct for Doggo as well to try and escape away, so gets caught by the Croc. And it's his swamp right now. KT, the dragon is up in 20 seconds. This is Mountain Soul, and it's already been impossible for CFO to break KT.
I mean, this is going to be the last gasp you have to kind of think for CFO. It's win this fight. It's stop this Soul from going over, or you are cooked. But KT is ready. You know, they already have so much power here. Red buff and blue buff just got picked up, and they are going to be waiting for CFO to go forward.
Almost an infinity edge for deokdam. Doggo the only one really with 2 items that matter for CFO as they try and step into the darkness, into that fog of war. The dragon resets, Rest using his health bar to try and gain purchase in the river right now, but KT keeping them at arm's length. Rest still stepping forward. The Drake how low, 7k. Kaiwing flashes for BDD, lands the quickness and the grand entrance, but with a flash away from BDD, perfect, dives in, and the chase goes in from Cuzz. Cataclysm onto the backline, the Emperor survived from HongQ. Everyone from KT falling below half HP, but then now with the redemption, they are topped up to full. For a moment, CFO looked like they may have found the fight, but the wallets are too damn heavy. KT find the 5-0 ace and will walk it down mid.
Yeah, CFO posed the question, but BDD had the answer as he has every single time this game. 100% KP for BDD, 6-0 and 15 on the Orianna as they're looking for one of the fastest games at Worlds.
Sub 25 minute, the prize for them. This roller coaster keeps on ratcheting up. KT in dominant fashion are gonna make it 2-0. The scoreline looks at BDD, but the hearts were won by Peter. KT 1 game away from the promised land.
Again, control from start to finish. Desk, is there an answer available?